Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So ever since Trump became president and said that he's not going to assisting African countries again, Nigeria is taking it personal. It's as if the whole world is coming to an end. Why is it that Nigeria have to depend on international countries for them to better their economy when we have so many mineral resources? NGOZI OKONJO has come out to lecture Tinubu on what he can do on mineral resources that Nigeria have, that he can tap and also better his economy. Other African countries have moved on and started doing what they can, looking for what they can do for themselves. But Nigeria is here granting interviews upon interviews on how Trump did not do this right. Trump, something that it is their money. You will not, of course, you should expect something like this to happen. When somebody keep giving you, one day they will get tired and decide to have everything they have to. You cannot blame Trump. You have to, it is Tinubu, the person that is the president of Nigeria, that should be able to know how to navigate this thing. And meanwhile, we have the things that is needed. We have the raw materials that is needed to do this thing. Listen to what NGOZI OKONJO said to Tinubu on what he can do so that this economy can get better. I wish he would listen to this or watch this video.
One of the key things that is emanating is a recognition of the present very difficult geopolitical context we are in. And of course, as the head of the WTO, I'm right in the middle of it. But one thing is very clear. Africa we really need to change our mindset. Access to aid, I think we can begin to think of it as a thing of the past. We really have to focus on two things: attracting investment and mobilizing our own domestic resources. And I think that is a theme that is running through almost all the meetings here at the AU. I think African leaders are recognizing that this is a challenge, but we can also see it as an opportunity. And again, I'm glad to say that it's emerging that, look, this could be looked at as an opportunity. This morning, we had a session with the Multilateral Development Bank Association of Africa itself, along with President Mahama. One of the things we talked about is how do we better mobilize our own resources on the continent to invest in ourselves. I pointed out that we have about $250 billion worth of pension funds resources on the continent, which we need to find a way to tap. First, the pension funds need to look at their regulations to see how they change it so that they can invest more on the continent rather than investing more outside. And pension funds from South Africa is the biggest, but you have South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Morocco, Botswana, Namibia, so many countries. When you start totaling the resources, it's huge, hugely significant. 250 billion is the estimate that I have. We have these multilateral development banks like African Finance Corporation. Afrexim Bank is chairing the Association of African Multilateral Institutions. We need to capitalize them better. Instead of looking outside to see, oh, what can we get? We have our own institutions. The shareholders are the African governments. Capitalize them properly so that their balance sheet can expand. They have a combined balance sheet now of about 70 billion. But if you look at the $70 billion, but if you look at the needs we have for infrastructure alone, up to more than 200 billion a year, you can see that we need to expand the balance sheets of these organizations. We have more than 84 national development banks and financial institutions, quite apart from the multilateral. How do we mobilize them and capitalize them better so they can help us finance? In Nigeria, during the time I was finance minister, we raised a diaspora bond of $300 million that was quite successful. That's another type of instrument you can tap in our resources of our people outside, not just inside the continent. So there's so many creative and innovative ways we can raise resources. I want to end by one thing. Another theme going here at the meeting is the realization that we have to better add value and monetize our mineral resources on the continent. Almost every head of state is talking about large discoveries of lithium, manganese, copper, so many things that are needed in the manufacture of electric batteries and vehicles. They are found on this continent. The issue is, how do we attract the right investment, so they add value. They don't come dig up the mine the resources and get them processed elsewhere. They have to be processed on the continent to create more jobs for us and to increase our trade. The only way we are going to be able to finance ourselves is to grow our economies, trade more, add value to our products, trade more. And at the WTO, we're trying to see what are those barriers that are preventing us. Sometimes when we add value, we can't export it the way we want. What are those barriers? And we have a unique opportunity at our 14th ministerial next year, which will be in Cameroon, for Africa to articulate those barriers and for us at the WTO to work hard to make sure that we lower them so we can have a better percentage of world trade and a better percentage of intra-Africa.
Just see how she analyzed this our economy and proffer solution. This one is not to be talking cho. See, she analyzed everything, proffer a solution or what that could be done so that everything will come back to normal. She said that the US aid of a thing is supposed to be of the past, that it's supposed to be a long time, that Nigeria is not supposed to be even be collecting any aid from any country. That is why so many other international countries look down on us. The other day, Canada denied our chief of defense visa. Why? Because they don't rate Nigeria. Why would they rate Nigeria? Nigeria that is still collecting aid from every country that offers. Why? I don't know why Tinubu will have this kind of woman, yet our economy will be deteriorating day by day. Look at this kind of solution. This video is the video that's supposed to be going viral, but they will not see it. Now I'm going to show you another video of what P2B said that can be done in Nigeria, and no other African countries will even be seeing our back in terms of economy. Watch.
For me, areas of agriculture, which deals with the third issue of development, pulling people out of poverty, health and education will receive not less than 10% each of the budget. And it's important. But if you look at what we have said about agriculture, if you look at your agriculture today, with a budget of 263 billion naira, in fact, out of that 363 billion, the actual thing that you're investing is 252.8, under 253 in capital budget. By the time you add 160 for new jets, 21 billion for new VP house, 15 billion for Library of National Assembly, 15 billion for their clinic, and all other furnishings, you find out you have to actually 250-something billion for the entire country to solve issue of hunger. In fact, the overhead for the entire agricultural ministry is less than 10 billion, which is about the money you have spent, about 50% of the money you spent just in housing the vice president. So if they truly believe that they are sorry for what all of us did, let us today agree and amend the constitution to save 10%. Well, if we do that, this country will be able to save about $1 billion every year, just $1 billion. If we had done that, if we do that, by the year 2060, 44 years from today, Wole would have saved $44 billion. If you aggregate it at a 5%, every year, we'll be hitting about 150 billion. The story will be different.
Right. So the culture really needs to change.
But today, everybody is still complaining and keeping quiet, and tomorrow we'll still say, hey, if this man had done, let's start now. If that had happened, we won't be here.
All right, I hear you.
That's what caused our problem.
We will continue this conversation. I have to take a short commercial. Of course, we are looking at Nigeria's recession and its economy. And joining us for that conversation is the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi. And earlier on, he was sharing his perspective about why it's important for the governments today to focus on savings despite the crisis. And Governor, we can move on to the state governments, because you obviously have a very interesting story to tell about how you were able to wade through your challenges.
It is the same thing in the state. The state have to be able to have a properly developed vision and have a strategy for delivery of that, and includes the needs. We're doing this, but we're also going to save this for tomorrow. And I give you an example. When we started saving dollars, the reason why we did that, to save in foreign currency, is I said, well, listen, if we're able to do the savings the way we're doing it, by the year 2050, would have been hitting about $3 billion. But let's even not forget that maybe today nobody can nobody can save.
And how much were you able to save over your tenure? The
day I handed over, I had $56 million in Fidelity Bank, $50 million in Diamond Bank, $50 million in Access Bank in Nigeria. The banks that are here, you can go across to them.
So over $150 million.
$156 million. Now, what I'm saying is that if, for example, the state decides not to invest more, by the year 2050, 36 years from now, that investment will be worth about 1.5 billion. They can now approach World Bank, take a 36 non-interest-free loan, which was what we're trying to do them, to get World Bank to say, give me 150 million for erosion, and give me 100 million for education, non-interest-free. So I'm going to pay back World Bank 40 years from now, and I have what it takes that in 40 years will give me about 1.5 billion. I'll give them their 250 and take my $1.250 billion.
Look at what Nigeria means. Just look at words of wisdom. Does it mean that Tinubu does not know this? Does it mean that the Nigerian government, all this, does it mean that they do not know this? Every time they are going for meeting at the Senate House, at the House of Rep, does it mean that they do not watch these interviews? They do not see these words that NGOZI, OKONJO, IWEALA, and P2B are dropping? All these hints on how to better Nigeria economy. Does it mean that they do not see it? Well, they do not want to do it because they know that doing it means lesser money for them themselves. They know all these things, but they choose to turn blind eye to it. They choose to depend on what other countries that have already suffered to get it. People that work for their own economy, after striving, working now, it doesn't even make sense that a country like America that gets raw materials from Nigeria and go to process in their land is giving Nigeria aid. It means that they are not wise. They already see that these people actually have what it takes to help themselves, but they do not want to help themselves. So why are we dashing the money? Why wasting our money all the time, every year, giving them? If you see the kind of billions that America give to African countries, especially Nigeria, every year, Trump is a wise man. He knows that he cannot be dashing money all the time. That he has better use for that money. He has better use for that money in America. They have seen what is in Nigeria and know that Nigeria can actually help themselves if they want to. But they choose to be amajiris. They choose to be collecting. Meanwhile, they have mineral resources. They have what kind of raw material that we do not have? What kind of mineral resources that Nigeria do not have? But beggy, everybody on their own personal bag. God will save us. Guys, please, I need your opinion of this in the comment section. Like and share.